Say you've got an AR-15 platform and it shoots everything pretty well except for steel case shells, or maybe you're trying to do subsonic and 300 blackout or 7.62x39, and your full power shells work just fine. Your brass cases work just fine under normal circumstances, but it just has problems with the steel case or the subsonics. This is kind of an easy fix, and it's actually worked quite well for us. What I do is I buy a cheap buffer spring. This was $3 from Midway USA. I was ordering other stuff, so the shipping was nothing on this basically. And a lot of people over the years have cut their springs, and I really think that's a bad idea, because when if you take one of these and you take your buffer and you compress the spring, that spring is almost exactly the same length as the buffer, and there's a reason for that. You don't want your buffer slamming into the back of the buffer tube and trying to escape, or destroying the back of your buffer. So what we did is you take your new spring, and I'm going to use this one because it's going to be a little easier to show you. I don't have to fight the spring as much. And you take some wire, and you figure out where the buffer is going to hit, right about there on the back of the bolt. And if you can see over here, these coils, even though we've got rid of the temper in these back coils, these coils go clear to the back of the buffer tube. So that's going to be enough spring to return your bolt to the home position and to load another shell out of the magazine. If you go too short, you're not going to be able to load another shell out of the magazine. You're probably going to have to buy a new spring. So when you do this, you figure out how long you want it, and like I said, you go from the back of the bolt to the back of the buffer tube there, and you want that many coils. And so behind that, you're probably going to mark it. I marked this with an awl, so you probably can't see the mark on it, but you could use a paint pen or whatever. So you're going to wrap the coils behind that with wire and compress them together. Now it's a real pain in the butt to do this, and I think I use like several pairs of vice grips and a vise, and then when you wire them down, that wire can be a problem as well, because if you just turn it like that, so you use some pliers to twist it up, once it gets hot, that wire can come undone. So what you kind of want to do is actually tie it in a knot. Alright, so actually tie knots in this wire, and that way when the wire gets hot and loses its temper, the wire's still going to stay in place. Now you don't have to get this too hot or anything like that. I'm doing a horrible job on this wire, but I think you get the point. And what I did was I ran like 3 or 4 all the way around this thing. I don't want to put you through watching me wire up all these coils, but once you get the coils wired up like that, and you've got a couple of knots in the wire, and you're pretty sure it's not going to come undone, you go ahead and you take a propane torch, and all you really need to do is get those coils just barely red, and that's how you're going to know that enough temper is out of it to work correctly. I'm just going to demonstrate that real quick, just so you know how red these need to be. Hopefully the camera picks it up. You don't want to get the coils over on this side. You just want to get the ones behind your mark. Got some oil burning off there. Just rotate it around. Now, just to be safe, if you're unsure about how many coils to do, it's always best to start with just a few first and then do more, because you don't want to do too many and then find out your spring's no good. And that torch should probably work pretty good for this too. There you go. So my coils are just barely starting to turn red. And that's really all you need. You just need to take the temper out of those back coils. Rotate it around, make sure you get all sides. And that should do it. That's exactly how I did the spring in the first place. You know, except I had more wires holding it together, half compressed. Go ahead and let it air cool. We don't want to quench this because, well, we're not trying to temper it. We want it to be soft back there. And that's it. We have proven this to work, and it now fires all steel cased ammo. And I imagine, you know, if you're running 300 blackout and subsonics, that you're going to run into the same type of deal. There's a reason we didn't just check out the gas port and the gas tube and the gas block. It's because this is a custom stainless block in here, and we know it's installed correctly, and we know the port size is correct because this was a custom build. And so we knew that wasn't the problem. Sure, we could have drilled the holes bigger, but what point, you know, what purpose are you serving? We're going to run full power shells through this as well. So there was no purpose to that. I know there's guys out there probably freaking out right now saying you shouldn't do this to your buffer spring, and that's fine. Everybody's got their opinion, but it has proven to work great. And if your rifle shoots even low power reloads like this does, it shoots low power brass reloads, no problem. It shoots factory shells, no problem. The only problems we had with it was the steel case shells. Then this is a pretty good option, I think. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please hit like below and feel free to subscribe for more videos like this.